Hey everyone, Charlie Morgan here and welcome to this training video. This one's called the whiteboard strategy. Now you might notice that in contrast to some of the other videos with regards to email strategies, this one's relatively short. We're not going to spend too much time here. It's a pretty simple framework to understand and it's not something that needs to be fleshed out. By this point you should already understand the whole sort of shebang when it comes to cold email. You should have your copy templates, you should have your quality plays, your quantity plays. And this strategy is kind of a bolt-on, right? It's something you can add on to what you already know and test and implement for your niche or your niche. So let's go ahead and explore what it is and how it works. And you can probably guess how it works by the title. So like I said, this is a bolt-on strategy. You can use it in conjunction to the copy you've got from previous modules. Okay, so doing this is just a good way to up your game. It's not going to make or break your outreach, right? But it might mean you get 5 or 10% more responses than you might otherwise. In those few percentages, if you're sending quantity emails or even quality emails over a long period of time, will add up, and it really can make a difference. Now, this strategy is not going to work for every single niche out there. I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but I'm not also saying it's not going to, if that makes sense. It couldn't. Chances are it should be absolutely fine. We found it to work really well for our agency and for other niches as well. But I want you to go into the sort of mindset of testing this thing, right? Because it's not going to work for every industry. It's not going to work for every offer. It's something that can work, but you need to test first. All right. So, I'd suggest you back it with like 500 emails first, and then contrast that to the results you're getting from other emails, because, you want to make sure you're testing it instead of just, blindly following this. So that's a little bit of a pre-warning. Should be fine, but there is a chance it doesn't work. And if so, that's fine. At least you know what doesn't work, if that makes sense. So let's talk about how this strategy actually works and what it is. I mean, this is going to take less than 5 minutes to explain, so let's jump in. So the whiteboard strategy is a great way to break the click word paradigm that we discussed in the 7-figure reply module. Because if you remember when we talked about verbiage and replying and everything, and we talked about how often is the case that people just open emails and they don't respond, or they say not interested or whatever, because the email that you're sending looks like all the other emails they've ever received in their lives, right? And just sending this using the whiteboard strategy is actually just a way to sort of break that paradigm and make the prospect think. And as we know, when we make the prospect think, well, good things happen, right? They tend to respond. And this is a really simple and quick way to differentiate your emails and just to make them pop a little bit harder. You see this sort of phrase a lot where people talk about ads popping, that ad seems to pop. And this is the same thing with your cold email. It just means when someone opens it, it just sort of stands out that little bit extra. And it will just differentiate your email by a small margin. And that has a huge difference on the response rates you get. So this strategy simply revolves around you taking a picture of yourself next to a whiteboard, clearly stating your offer, right? In super simple layman's terms. I've got 2 examples to show you in a second. And you can have this whiteboard strategy. You can automate it, and you can take one picture one time and then send that to all of your customers, all your prospects. But if you are operating on a more of a quality basis, or you want to get better results and better response rates and stuff, then what you can do is you can edit it to every single time. So you've got your whiteboard with your offer on it, and then if you want to go ahead and send an email, you take 30 seconds to write their name on the whiteboard, take a picture with the whiteboard, send it to your computer, upload it to the email. And honestly, just doing that is actually really effective because it shows that you've actually taken the email. It's like a personal email. So this sort of whiteboard strategy, if you're doing it bespokely for each individual prospect, it's kind of like the Loom strategy, just toned all the way down. Because it won't, the Loom can take it takes a minute and a half to record, and then you've got like another 30 seconds to sort of name it and file it, and then you've got another 30 seconds to send it and change the copy. Whereas this thing literally will take like less than a minute to just, take the picture and stuff. And it's a good thing as well, because when you're doing your Looms, you don't really want to be, you don't really want to be like when you're doing emails, you don't want to be sending an email every like 3 seconds. Like you don't want to just be copying and pasting and copying and pasting and copying and pasting, because you need to leave like 30 seconds or so, or a minute between each email. So just doing this will actually help you with deliverability as well. So it's going to depend on what your goals are and how much time you've got, but I'd recommend you still do it and test it at least. Now, the other thing you can use the whiteboard strategy for is replies. no, sorry, not replies, but you can use it for replies. You could try to use it for replies. We never have, but you can also use it for follow-ups. So if for example, you sent an email to a prospect, they didn't reply, then what you could do is you could grab the whiteboard, write their name on it, and draw a little sad face saying, "Hey, John, it's been a couple of days since I sent you this thing over. I just drew a little sad face to show you that, I'm still waiting for your response and I can't wait to hear back from you." It doesn't have to be like that. You'll probably have to think of that on your own, just according to what language your niche might speak. But if it's a realtor, you could draw like a little house and just say, "Hey, here's a house that I've got that you can represent." You can be tongue-in-cheek with it. You'll just have to experiment with it. But when you're doing follow-up, once again, it's just breaking that click word paradigm. It just shows you've gone to a little bit of extra effort, and can massively help your conversion rates. Okay, so it applies to cold sending, but it also applies to following up cold as well. Just a quick whiteboard with their name on it saying, "Hey, John Doe, really appreciate that. I know you haven't checked out my email yet. I wanted just to take a quick picture of myself to show that I'm waiting and I'm a real human, and that I'm waiting on you." And then draw like a little, like a, I don't know, a clock face or something on the whiteboard. You can get nice and bespoke with it. But you can sort of come up with those ideas. So basically what you do, the workflow is like this. So you have your email, you have your copy, and then before you hit send, you quickly grab a whiteboard, you grab a marker or a pen or a felt tip, whatever, and you write on that whiteboard your offer. You write the name of the prospect if you're doing it bespokely, which I'd recommend. You hold the whiteboard up next to your face, you smile, take a picture, airdrop it over to your laptop or whatever, or send it to yourself. And then you send the email, and then it's done. It doesn't take too long. It's not going to take you ages. Works really well. Works really well with email. Not so much with Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. LinkedIn can work, but the other platforms tend not to. It doesn't work as well, right? It's not as effective. You can try it by all means. Experiment with it, test it, prove me wrong. But yeah, that's how that works. So in terms of where you can put the whiteboard, the screenshot, like I'd recommend you put it at the bottom or the midsection of your email. It depends entirely on the copy that you're using. For example, when we use the Loom strategy, we obviously have the Loom in the copy, and we introduce that in the middle by saying, "By the way, I'm a real person. Here's a video to explain the offer," and then it's obviously a personalized video with their website on screen. You can do a similar thing. You can say, "By the way, I'm a real person. To prove that, I just wrote your name on a whiteboard and took a picture of myself real quick." And then you just embed the screenshot, right? And it doesn't have to be like full size, but it can just be small size or like original size, whatever it is in Gmail. And then put that in, and then you can carry on with your copy, all right? So you have to test it, experiment with where you think it should go in the email. But like I said, it just makes your prospects think, and they actually see the name written on the whiteboard. They see your face, they see you smiling, and they think, oh, okay, he sent this personally. The offer's the same, the copy's the same. It doesn't make any difference, but it's just that extra tiny bit of effort that you've made that sort of rings in the prospect's mind, and people will remember you for it. And even if someone doesn't want to talk to you, they'll still send you emails back saying, "I like this approach, seems cool." So yeah, like I said originally, this works really well for some niches, but not so well for others. I'd recommend you give it a shot for your next 500 emails or so, and see how it compares to your normal sending routines. So, I wouldn't advise you use this until you've established a baseline with the copy that you've already got. But you can, of course, you can jump straight in. It's entirely up to you. So here are a couple of examples. On the left here is one that I used to use for gyms. This worked really well, pretty straightforward, just 20 to 50 members in 30 days or your money back. When you're writing on these whiteboards, like you don't want a massive whiteboard, right? You're not going to be, straining your deltoids trying to hold this thing up. As you can see, it's just a little small whiteboard. You can even have a little A4 one. And then really you want to try and get your offer in there in under like 10 words or so. Like you don't want to have like a super long sentence. Like it needs to just sort of like stand out. Like you just need to be able to read it by looking at it, right? Instead of actually having to sort of read through. So you can see on the left here, this is the quantity play, right? I took, I think probably like 20 different photos and picked the one that I thought was the best in terms of the angle and everything. Tested them, like the smile. One of them I did looking at the whiteboard. One of them I did looking at the whiteboard pretending to be shocked. You can test these things out, try them out, see what works for you. And then on the right here, this is an example where we've been using this to help people get appointments, right? So, Jacob Malik was a guy that we reached out to. It says Jacob Malik, 30 to 90 appointments in 30 days or your money back, right? We just put the $sign because it's just, it's easier to read the money. It makes a bit more sense, and also it bangs out. You can see we've got different things underlined. And yeah, but it's just a cool little thing, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to worry about putting makeup on or making sure your hair's all pretty, as you can see on the right hand one. I definitely haven't done that. But you know, these small little things go a really long way in your cold outreach. And if someone opens up an email and it looks like, first of all, it will say it's got an attachment. It will say it's got a picture in there or something, make them more likely to open it. But if someone opens that up and they just, you know, they've got like 3 emails from marketing agencies, they open all 3 of them, and one of them has just got the picture of the guy like holding up a whiteboard with your name on it, like you're far more likely to reply. So that's everything for this video. Like I said, it's not a particularly long one. There's not too much to explain. It's just a cool little framework that you can use for your cold emails, and also, like I said, for your follow-ups as well. I haven't got any follow-up examples in here, but you know, you can come up with those ones on your own. Just, you know, think about, you know, just like, oh, have you, like for example with Loom, you could just have a screenshot and then just have you seen my Loom yet? ? And you could just send them that saying, hi John, I want to send you this picture. And then, you know, John will be like, oh, that's different, that's new. Like, oh, okay, I'm actually thinking now, like I'm going to reply to this because this guy's different. So, you know, that's how it works. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. I will see you in the next video right now.